Ms. Gozuki.
Question 12, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, can I have your permission to answer questions 12 to 14 together on today's order paper?
Please go ahead.
Sir, there are existing safeguards for GIRO. Customers can set transaction limits on their GIRO payments, and banks also apply due diligence checks on GIRO billing organizations. These include checking that they are properly registered businesses and are not linked to any sanctioned or other criminal activities. However, checks by banks may not always be able to prevent errors and potential misuse of GIRO. While such cases have been uncommon so far, we agree that the safeguards should be strengthened. MAS is working with the Association of Banks in Singapore and member banks to strengthen these safeguards. The review will consider measures including enabling customers to set monthly limits on the value and number of transactions and enhancing transaction monitoring and due diligence on billing organizations. We will also consider suggestions by Ms. Gosuki, Mr. Melvin Yong, and Mr. Sean Low, and members of the public. We also advise consumers to review their current GIRO arrangements and to set appropriate transaction limits with their banks and financial institutions. There are also other non-GIRO payment options available to customers, including standing instructions to the bank for recurring monthly payments for an amount set by the customer.
Ms. Goh.
I have one excuse. So in the United Kingdom, the BACS system, which stands for the Bankers Automated Clearing Services, operates a widely used direct debit scheme that includes advance notice of payment amounts, a direct debit guarantee allowing for immediate refunds in case of error, and strong consumer recourse mechanisms. So in light of these established safeguards in other countries, could MOS clarify whether Singapore's review of the GIRO framework will move towards incorporating such similar features? Thank you.
MOS Tan.
So I thank Ms. Gosuki for her suggestion, and indeed we will look into her suggestion and others as well. I would say also that now some of the banks have, for example, GIRO on demand, which allows where each deduction must be authorized individually before the bank processes the transaction. So different banks have different ways of which to either implement safeguards or have different safeguards, but we will look into that suggestion. We'll look into also setting monthly limits for transaction amounts and also the value of transactions, and then also to enhance monitoring of transactions as well. Thank you.
Mr. Sean Low.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the MOS for the update. I'm very heartened to hear it that MAS has agreed to do a review because the current level of consumer protections are not adequate. I have two questions. The first one is, how long will this review take? And my second question is, while the review is ongoing, can the MAS also increase public awareness of the protections offered to consumers as well as its limitations? So today, you can only set a limit per transaction, but consumers are not protected because agencies or organizations can have multiple deductions within that transaction limit. So can public awareness be increased prior to the review being completed? Thank you.
MOS Tan.
So indeed, MAS will work with the banks as well as financial institutions to raise awareness and public awareness of these. And the review, we will start with lower-hanging fruits. Some of these may be affected in the short term, but major enhancements which involve system changes will need some time to be developed, tested, and implemented. But we accept and we will take his views into account. Thank you.
Mr. Melvin Yong.
So I thank the MOS for his reply, and we are heartened, and the Consumer Association of Singapore will be happy to work with MAS on consumer protection measures. For consumers, we often use GIRO when we want to so-called set and forget recurring payments. And therefore, we acknowledge that while there's convenience of using GIRO, it also comes with trade-off, including the possibility of fraud. And many consumers regard GIRO as a secure and convenient means of payment, and therefore we must put in place the necessary safeguards. So I want to ask whether there are existing thresholds or guidelines for banks to therefore flag anomalous GIRO deduction patterns, and if not, whether MAS intends to introduce such standards for the banks. Because when we do GIRO, we forget about it, and we expect that the banks protect us by monitoring certain patterns.
MOS Tan.
So I thank CASE Chairman and Member Mr. Melvin Yong for working with MAS to also raise awareness about the use of GIRO. As he mentioned earlier on, GIRO has its uses. For example, if you were to pay your monthly electricity bills, this affords convenience because the bills will fluctuate from month to month. But there are also some downsides, and that's why this review will take into account what he, Ms. Goh, and Mr. Sean has suggested. And that includes also enhanced monitoring of transactions as well. Thank you.